you check the children? Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is what
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Jaime Fuego, yeah.
And we are reviewing another recent release on Shudder, which is something that we talk about for every new installment of this now long-running franchise.
Yeah, they're doing one every year now.
Indeed. We're talking about VHS Halloween, you guys. And I really have enjoyed the last few installments of this franchise. Ever since they took the break and came back, I feel like they've really been doing a good job. I don't know that Fuego is going to fully agree with me, but I enjoyed every installment of this particular part of the franchise. There's usually one that I'm not really that keen on, and there was one in this that I wasn't that keen on, but not for the reasons you might expect. So ultimately, for VHS Halloween, my overall thoughts are I loved this entry. I thought it was great. There was a lot of fun to be had across all of the different stories, including, I think it might be the most fun wraparound that we've had in the entire franchise thus far. So yeah, my overall thoughts are VHS Halloween is a big win for me.
Yeah, I think I liked the previous installment that was a little, like, space alien-centric.
It was all alien, yeah.
Significantly more than this one. This was more of those, like, kind of hit and miss, installments of the series. Like, I loved the framing device. That shit was really funny to me.
Diet Phantasma.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, I mean, as far as... It was really leaning into the silly in this one, and I was trying to remember some of the previous incarnations and just how goofy they got with it. Because I know they've done, there was 94, and then there was 85, and then there was 99, and I was like they had done more of these since Bloody and their people took over the franchise than I even remembered. I'm like, what? They're on like 7.
This is the fourth one now. Yeah, fourth since the relaunch.
Yep. So this was the 7th one actually, and so they were just a little more on the lackluster side for me. I mean, there was one that took itself very seriously that involved some like adolescent kids and teenagers and stuff. That was one of the more like hard-hitting as far as like subject matter goes for me. But I don't know, man. It was a lot goofier than I was expecting compared to some of the previous installments. But yeah, I guess I was a little less jazzed about this one than you. And so I don't know. Do you want to go installment by or entry by entry?
Let's not take
it's a little
forever
bit
with it
different.
because I mean, so I think broadly, so we don't have to dive into this in every installment.
Yeah.
Broadly, I think the effects were great. It was practical effects.
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of CG. Like, if anything, it was CG augmentation. It was not straight CG for a lot of the effects. The practical, even though the first story wasn't my favorite story, the effects were awesome. And set design and the effects were great. So I think, again, we don't need to dive into it for each story, but I think the effects were phenomenal across all of this. I think the production design was phenomenal across all of these as well.
Yeah. I mean, very, very gory when it wanted to be. And I mentioned set design for the first story. It was also very top notch for the final story.
It was top notch for the Spanish story where it was the party.
Where they went back to investigate, where the people were missing their eyeballs and all that stuff.
I thought that was great.
Recreating. Yeah, that actually might have been my favorite of all of them. That and the one with the kids. So those are my two standouts.
I know you didn't like Fun Size that much. I thought Fun Size was great. It was very fun. Like, it's in the title.
Dumb as all hell, but
So, all right, we'll go through them real quick. So, the wraparound is Diet Phantasma, which is basically a bunch of people taste testing a new soda,
including kids, by the way.
Yeah, and things do not go well for these crash test dummies, so to speak.
Yeah, because they're supposedly putting like actual like
poltergeists,
into the soda.
They're canning
and they're like, you gotta dial it back a little bit more. So
it's hilarious.
So they're trying to tinker with the flavoring and with just that
sets a tone. How do you not expect silliness?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It does. And I love my horror comedy when it lands, and yet just not a lot of it landed for me in this one, aside from the wraparound. But
So yeah, the first story is called Coochie Coochie Coo.
yeah, so you get these two girls. They're dressed as babies, going around, and they're like practically grown adults, you know, like in their early 20-somethings, and
They're
going
just
around
going to get candy,
going around trick or treating,
stealing candy from kids. Like,
and so there is.
They're going a long way to show them as assholes.
Yeah. Oh, big time. And yet there is the chatter about the fact that there was a cheerleader that went missing a year before, and they never found her, and so they come upon this home that looks like something out of the previous VHS with the glowing windows, and like it would just like shoot up like a rocket into the damn sky or something.
I gotta say, I loved the effect of the door opening and it being pitch black and just the hand coming out with the bucket, shaking and then disappearing into the darkness. I was like, that's so fucking good.
Yeah, and the girls are filming everything, and so they go in to investigate a little bit further, and that's where
characters were dumb as fuck.
Oh, they were terrible.
Hated that.
Yeah, I couldn't stand them.
I mean, you know, it's like one doesn't want to do it, the other one just does it anyway, and so
totally
like,
obnoxious,
so,
and then the other one, and you know, who was trying to like
very,
reel her in a little bit.
Even though it's realistic, it still feels very contrived nowadays. Anyway, sorry, I mean,
no, you're good. Yeah,
and I'll get fried for it.
Yeah, and so the girls go in, and of course, it is a home that has all kinds of disgustipated stuff that is transpiring.
Disgustipated, I like that.
Yeah. So there is a creepy, and of course, when they get inside, the door disappears immediately, and they're just like wandering around the house. And there's baby stuff all over. There's milking stations. There's cribs. There's, you know, like drying up.
Not just milking stations.
Oh yeah.
But a milking station fit for a pig.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yep. We're talking multiple udders. You know, beyond the dose. So. Yeah. I mean, the annoyance of the two characters for me was what I wasn't so jazzed on in this one. However, there's comeuppance that transpires and everything, and it really just boils down to the makeup of the different people, or like
the cherub fucking look.
Yeah, and then a lot of the promotional stuff that we see, there is the one of the girl with like the huge swelled up cheeks, and there's something to do.
Look.
Yeah, there is something tied in with the milk that is being given to those who are inside this home, and how it alters their physiology and everything. So, you know, from a stylistic standpoint, that was definitely one of the more impressive as far as how they put this grimy, gross home together internally, how they filmed them running through the different rooms and everything, and then the makeup and kind of the just the sheer gross out factor of this. It kind of reminded me of Dolly a little bit, which was a film that we reviewed out of Fantastic Fest, as far as like the whole baby aspect. And
this is the length Dolly should have been.
It should have been a short film.
All right, so let's move on to the second story, which was Ut Supra Sic Infra.
Yeah, and this
which
one was
was
a
the
little
Spanish
more,
one.
Yeah, this one was a little more serious.
I dug the hell out of this. So basically what happens is we start off in a police investigation where the sole survivor of a group of teens, college kids, I'm not sure which, gathering for a party. Everyone is found dead, missing their eyes, and this guy is the only one that survived. So the police are interrogating him, and they're like, you have to tell us what happened. And he's like, basically, I have to just show you. And so they're like, well, we'll take you and you can tell us what happened. So they go back
to do the crime scene recreation.
They do the recreation of the crime scene and have him sort of walk them through the events. And as they do, things do not go the way they anticipate. And I really liked this, especially the payoff. I feel like it was one.
And I love the way they shot it too.
Yeah, it was one that had a long setup that was going to either live or die by the payoff, and I feel like the payoff made it worth it.
Indeed. Yeah, and I always like seeing some international flair in these as well, you know, because it takes place in España, so it takes place in Spain, and so when they go back to recreate the crime scene, there is a phone that our sole survivor alleges
not connected to anything.
Yep, not connected to anything, and he's like, oh, it started ringing, and you know that's where, and they're like, but there's
and they're like, okay, so where the phone was right here, and as soon as they pull out the phone, he freaks out and stuff. So they do a good job building the tension in this one, and the execution of the story. I feel like it was great.
I also like the way that they shot it because of something that happens to people in the room once the otherworldly presence takes hold. Yeah, and
it's all about perspective.
Yes, very much so, very much so. And I will second you, man. The payoff. Whereas I'm championing from like a makeup and set design and everything standpoint. The previous one, this I think from just the strength of the storytelling was one of the best ones.
Agreed.
If not the best one in my estimation.
Next is Fun Size. So we're let's cruise through
Easily
these a
the
little bit.
goofiest of them
This is
all.
the goofiest. This is the one that you'll see the most thumbnails with. It's the goofy, cartoonish looking character in the
Player's
yellow suit with the
peanut-looking
big,
mofo.
big red head. But essentially, it's a group of kids that run afoul of this cartoon character that.
Not even kids. They're once again like of the same age range.
Yeah.
They're
late teen. Yeah, exactly. And one of them, they get to a bowl that says "take one," and one of them takes more than one, and they all get sort of swallowed into this, factory setting.
Dungeony factory.
Dungeony factory.
Yeah. And that's
after eating some
of-
really strange candy they've never
Yeah.
seen the names of before.
Yeah, where he's eating it in the cream factory. And
Yeah,
everything, which is
it's the
pretty funny.
Cadbury cream egg of chocolate dips.
Yeah, and this is one of the segments where you definitely had some digital stuff going on because when they're being sucked into the candy bowl and everything. And
but it wasn't, again, considering the silliness of the setup, it wasn't out of place.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Definitely not. And there are some laughs in this one, most notably when they realize the nature of what's going on. There's one character who says, "Here, just let me on. I just want to get it over with," which I thought was really funny.
It was so
actually.
stupid, and then So agree. Yeah, it was funny though. Funny.
And there is a little bit of relational tension going on between a couple characters as well, which adds a little bit of intrigue and subplot, I guess. But yeah, this was easily the goofiest of all of them.
It was goofy, but it wasn't bad. You didn't like it. I liked it. So
I'm not
there
gonna
you
say
go.
I hated it. It's just
It's fine. It's fine. To each their own. It's cool.
The
Some
humor
of you
didn't
may
work
like
as
it.
well
Some
for
of
me.
you may not. It's good. It's good but you can at least see the value in it.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. And so they're victims being turned into candy, but it's more so than anything specific parts of victims.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So next up is Kid Print.
Yeah, what I thought was the second strongest of them, aside from this second Spanish
Yeah, this
segment.
one, again, we won't go much into the story on this one, but this is the one that a lot of people that say Chris Stuckman reviewed this, and he said there's one story that was particularly disturbing. This is the one that people are finding particularly disturbing.
I think for
I did
parents-
not find it particularly disturbing,
surprises.
but it's, it's the
Being
way
a
it was
parent
done.
yourself,
It's the way it was done. It didn't hit me the way other things hit parents in other horror movies. It is still obviously a messed up setup, but it just didn't hit me like it did everyone. This was the weakest one, in my opinion, of the whole thing. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It is the one that
Not that
takes,
not that it was bad. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
it didn't hit with me.
Yeah, it is the one that takes itself the most seriously of the 5 installments, I would say. There's a guy who owns like an electronics store, and so he's selling everything from VCRs to all kinds of other
And he's got his
electronics
small
and trinkets
team.
and stuff. And yep. And so the team ties in with the fact that there are kids that have been going missing, like a large number of them in this small town at this particular point. And so they're trying to figure out
It's like
who is
Derry
responsible.
without the clown.
yeah, exactly. And so there's a lockdown on Halloween. There's like a special function for younger kids that's going on at like one of the parks or something. But there's law enforcement there. They're trying to be very thorough and just make sure all the kids are safe. But this guy also runs like kind of a video documentation service for whatever reason. That like the usage of that, I wasn't really certain that if like what the
Doesn't
point
matter.
was. Yeah, but you did. There is a reveal as to who is behind it, and
what's kind of going on.
but
it's disturbing. But not as much.
But it's all about the twist and the reveal of who is responsible. That is, as with so many anthology stuff, whether it's a Stephen King short collection or whatever, it is all or a Tales from the Crypt episode. It's all about the twist and the reveal of what is really going on and who's responsible, or whether it's a person, otherworldly presence, whatever. So, yeah.
So lastly, the final story is Home Haunt. And this, again, there was like 3 of them that were set up very similarly.
Yeah.
So what is this one for you?
Despite different directors, for each one. So this one, you get a little bit of, like, I guess, archival footage of the fact that this father and his son had such a great time celebrating Halloween together over the years, but now son has grown up. He doesn't think hanging with Dad on the holiday is particularly cool anymore, and so the dad is, very much saying, let's dress up, let's go, put on something for the local community where we, showcase like a haunted house and, go and visit it and bring some other people along with us. So he's able to twist the arm of the son. I believe the wife comes along as well. So they're all dressed up. There's a number of other people with them. And without getting into too much, the haunted house is a little more legit, I guess, than you really were expecting, as far as just, I don't know. It's not. It's far beyond like a Halloween Horror Night sort of situation as far as actuality, believability. I thought that despite the endearing tone of how this is a holiday that fathers and sons can celebrate together as they grow up and just kind of pass the tradition along. Aside from that, I just wanted this to go a little bit further and be... I mean, you get some nice gore once things really ramp up near the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
There's like this witch like flying around through the streets and stuff, which is kind of silly. So, I don't know. Tonally, this worked for me as far as Goofy a little bit better than the candy one.
Fun size,
fun size, and then also the first one with the kids. But still, like... I guess the two segments that played it a little straighter in the one from Spain and the one about the kids were the two favorites for me. But I know you like this one a lot more than I did, right?
Well, the reason I like this one is because, I've been going to haunts my whole life. And obviously when you're in grade school, the most you get are like, the fun party, haunts that sometimes your classmates' parents will put on where like they'll take the skin off grapes and you can reach in and they're like eyeballs, like
and
all
then
that
the
stuff.
Spaghetti is like supposed to be like intestines.
So the reason I jived with this so much is because this was essentially what if a home haunt like came to life, and like all these cheesy ass rooms actually came to life in a would be scary way. This was the execution of that. And so that's why I dug it. It hit on a nostalgic level as opposed to like a unique or particularly well done level.
Yeah. I never got to experience a lot of those memories as a kid because my Reformed
religious.
Baptist parents were so like
You religios.
Yeah. I think the first haunted house I ever went to, I was like maybe 17 or 18. I went to Alice Cooper's Nightmare downtown, which was like right behind one of the arenas. So I was aged at that particular point, but. I did quite like the performance from the father as far as just his earnestness and just the fact that, he just, it means so much to him this holiday, and especially from like just a family and a community standpoint and stuff. I thought that was pretty sweet, but yeah, it does hold back once it finally ramps up, then it just kind of ends. It is one of the shorter segments too, if I remember correctly. So, maybe they ran out of budget or they just, within the constraints of an anthology, then who knows, but and then we get back to the wraparound because the wraparound has been going intertwined, like little bridge gaps in between each of the stories. You get a few different people testing, whether it's kids or whether it's larger test groups or whatever, and so it does eventually hit market, this crazy soda. And there's a funny advertisement that they have, and because you eventually do get to somebody who can handle the soda. They get the recipe just right without spoiling stuff, and it is a pretty funny payoff, I think. So
yeah, guys, that's VHS Halloween. That is our 2025 installment of the franchise.
Where could the franchise go next from here? I mean, I don't know.
VHS Christmas, VHS Easter, give me all the holidays. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
VHS
I guess
Labor Day.
Christmas maybe seems like the most natural because they did the Y2K thing. They've done the 80s. They've done the 90s.
They could do VHS summer, VHS fall, VHS spring. They have a lot of different ways they can go. Yeah. So I enjoyed it a bit more than Fuego.
I enjoyed it well enough. It just I don't know. I liked the last one a lot. Like I thought the last one was really strong as far as the storytelling went. So
there you go, guys. That's going to do it for our thoughts. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, especially if you've watched all the way up to this point. Thank you to our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do.
Woo.
Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
And gracias. I've been Jaime Fuego.
And remember,
stay scared.